Apparently, Nicki Minaj has dragged Jay-Z to filth. She blasts him for being evil and spiteful.
Well, y'all, Nicki Minaj is back on X, and she's coming for Jay-Z. So in a series of tweets, Nicki Minaj is claiming that Jay-Z owes her $100 to $200 million so far.
Nicki Minaj just accused Jay-Z of stealing $89 million from her, and now her $195 million mansion is being seized. But this isn't just Jay-Z's doing. Insiders say Beyoncé is pulling the strings behind Nicki's fall. The story starts years ago, long before the public meltdown and the court orders. It begins in 2015, when Nicki joined Jay-Z's exclusive circle of Tidal investors. Back then, the streaming service was marketed as a musician-led revolution, a rebellion against big labels and corporate interference. Nicki was one of 15 artists gifted a 3% stake, an early sign she was considered part of the inner circle, shoulder to shoulder with Beyoncé, Rihanna, Ye, and others. But 6 years later, in 2021, everything changed. Jay-Z sold Tidal to Jack Dorsey's Square for a reported $300 million. Most co-owners walked away quietly with checks and confidentiality agreements. Nicki claims she was offered only $1 million and an NDA to stay silent about it. The number burned into her posts and interviews wasn't random. She publicly compared her expected payout of $89 million to the single million she says she was given, calling it hush money for silence. That word silence keeps resurfacing.
Nicki Minaj, she went on another Twitter rant and she still got Jay-Z and Roc Nation in every tweet. She be wilding on them. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't never seen nobody come at Jay-Z this hard.
The problem is, money trails leave fingerprints, and people who've been silenced often come back louder. After the sale, Nicki started hinting that something was wrong, that her financial records didn't match the Tidal equity she was promised. She said Jay-Z and Roc Nation manipulated valuations and distributed shares unfairly, and that when she asked questions, her calls stopped getting returned. On the surface, it looked like another celebrity feud, but in early October 2025, just days before her online blow-up, her financial troubles began surfacing in court filings. On October 6, a man named Thomas Weidenmuller filed a motion in Los Angeles Superior Court to collect on a $503,000 judgment against Nicki and her husband Kenneth Petty. Weidenmuller, a security guard who worked one of Nicki's 2019 shows in Germany, says he was assaulted backstage and never received the damages he was awarded. When his lawyers couldn't collect, they asked the court to force the sale of Nicki's Hidden Hills home. In his filing, Weidenmuller stated, "The property's current fair market value is appraised at $20 million. That amount is more than sufficient to satisfy the judgment." The motion cites the home's $132 million mortgage lien and a $722,000 exemption, leaving about $6 million in equity to cover his claim and costs. That number, again $6 million in equity, was more than enough to cover a $500,000 judgment. But what stunned observers was that Nicki hadn't paid it, despite being, as the filing notes, one of the highest-paid female rap stars in the world. Her estimated net worth ranged between $150 and $190 million. So why risk a foreclosure? Why go silent on a debt small enough to erase over? The answer, insiders claim, lies in the timing. Beyoncé's team reportedly started pulling away from Nicki's circle weeks before the Weidenmuller filing became public. It wasn't about money, it was about image.
Why is everybody calling me now? And that's the problem that I have with this whole situation. But I am going to save this conversation for Jay-Z. Jay-Z, you're watching. I know you're watching because you got people calling me. Stop having people call me. You can call me yourself. You know how to get my number. You know you got people calling me. Call me yourself, because this right here is going to go viral. The way my job works on the internet, everybody's going to be clipping, sharing on TikTok.
Behind the scenes, industry sources say Beyoncé's management had already decided that association with Nicki was becoming toxic. The reason? Nicki's social media tirades had crossed a line. Several insiders recall a string of disturbing rants in which Nicki allegedly mocked Beyoncé and Jay-Z's children, calling them autistic, and using their names to taunt her rivals online. Whether those comments were directly aimed or just insinuated, the damage was done. Sponsors noticed. A source close to a major brand partner says Beyoncé's people began quietly making calls in early September, urging collaborators to avoid Nicki-related projects until things cooled off.
Now, yesterday, Nicki Minaj did what she does best lately, and that's go on an unhinged rant about everything and everybody, okay? If you missed it, I understand. There's more important things going on in the world, including but not limited to a government shutdown. And it started
around the same time, award committees reportedly started withdrawing early invitations. One music executive described it bluntly. No one wants to be the brand standing next to her when she explodes. Then came October 15th, the date of Nicki's most infamous online meltdown. That day, she accused Jay-Z of siphoning energy, money, blessings, tagging him directly in a post that spread across every entertainment outlet within hours. What most people didn't realize was that the statement wasn't only about Jay-Z. It was a shot at Beyoncé's empire, the one she believes operates behind closed doors to decide who rises and who falls. Nicki's post came after weeks of quiet rumors that Jay-Z's team, under Roc Nation, was deliberately making her financial life harder. One anonymous insider described a meeting in which 2 Roc Nation executives allegedly discussed starving her out, pressuring creditors to call in debts and limit her tour cash flow. The language, the source said, was chilling. Starve her out, not cancel her deal. Soon after, screenshots of text messages began circulating online, purporting to show Roc Nation associates coordinating with entertainment attorneys to apply pressure on people who handled Nicki's business affairs. None of the parties confirmed their authenticity, but the timing lined up with the foreclosure push.
Roc Nation.
Don't make me sound like
Oh my God. So not my fault. Like,
Meanwhile, her husband, Kenneth Petty, was back under legal scrutiny. In September 2023, Petty was ordered to serve 120 days of house arrest after violating probation by posting videos in which he and 2 men threatened rapper Offset. Those clips, which spread like wildfire on social media, were more than embarrassing. They reignited public discussion about Petty's criminal record, including his attempted assault conviction from 1995 and his ongoing legal battle with Jennifer Huff. The new house arrest effectively kept Nicki tethered to her home, unable to fully engage in business meetings or public appearances without drawing attention to his case. Sources close to Roc Nation claim this distraction wasn't an accident, that Jay-Z's circle exploited Petty's violations to keep Nicki off balance and unable to focus on her financial defense. It's not the first time Jay-Z's network has been accused of playing chess with industry reputations. Roc Nation is known for building stars, but also for how quickly it cuts ties with liabilities. What's different now is how public the collapse has become. Nicki's posts have turned from cryptic hints to full-scale accusations. In one, she wrote that Roc Nation came begging for a tour and an album, but that she refused, saying they needed help from the Queen and the bars. Her followers framed it as defiance. Insiders read it as panic. Refusing a partnership when you're facing foreclosure and legal bills isn't power, it's desperation.
And I'm not saying allegedly.
Oh. Okay.
I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston.
Still, there's something deeper beneath the noise. The idea that Beyoncé, long painted as above the industry's mess, might be involved in engineering Nicki's downfall has divided fans. Some believe it's revenge for the comments about her family. Others think Beyoncé's protecting her own brand from a public implosion. Either way, the alleged distancing didn't stop there. A few publicists claim they received quiet guidance not to book Nicki for red carpet events sponsored by companies with ties to Parkwood Entertainment, Beyoncé's label and management firm. The message was polite but firm. It's not the right fit this season.
I know so much on how you got where you are, how you stepped on many people.
And then there's the matter of silence, both the kind Jay-Z allegedly paid for through that NDA and the kind the industry now enforces through exclusion. Every new outburst from Nicki seems to feed the narrative that she's unstable, difficult, or worse, dangerous to partner with. Yet the financial data doesn't lie. Her assets are shrinking, the foreclosure proceedings are real, the lawsuits from former employees and security staff keep stacking up, and the one person who could help stabilize her husband, is confined and embroiled in his own history of violence. When the Weidenmuller filing hit the press, Nicki's lawyers offered no public comment. Instead, Nicki went online, saying that Roc Nation and media outlets like Page Six were spreading false stories as part of a smear campaign. Her posts shifted tone by the day. Defensive one moment, spiritual the next. "They don't want me to put out music," she wrote. "Me winning makes them feel like they lost." Then she announced she was canceling her album altogether. Within 24 hours, she contradicted herself again, promising a new era called Billionaire Barbie. The contradictions only deepened speculation that her empire was crumbling internally. It's important to remember how these pieces fit. First, the missing Tidal millions, then the legal debts, then the online feud with Jay-Z, quickly expanding to include Beyoncé. What started as a business dispute now looks like a coordinated takedown. Or at least that's how Nicki tells it. Insiders whisper that Jay-Z was content to let her unravel publicly, but Beyoncé allegedly wanted to ensure she didn't recover. A former label consultant claims that several of Nicki's planned endorsements, deals worth millions, were suddenly paused for internal review right after an unconfirmed call from Beyoncé's management. No one will go on record, but the pattern is hard to ignore.
She feels like blogs and online platforms don't touch what she's saying, and they don't cover all of her words fully because it's Jay-Z and Roc Nation.
Well, I'll tell you this, I have no idea about their business, but if someone owed me $200 million, then I would be in court, not on X, and I guarantee you if she ever took that to court, that would be a huge story.
What complicates things further is how personal the feud has become. Beyoncé's children were off limits until Nicki made them part of her online crossfire. It's unclear what exactly she said, but those who saw the posts before they were deleted describe mocking references to autism and comparisons that many called unforgivable. Within a week, the temperature around her name dropped to freezing. Collaborators pulled away, and Beyoncé, who almost never engages publicly in disputes, reportedly began making strategic phone calls. Those who have worked with her say that when she decides someone is a liability, the industry follows her lead without question. By mid-October, that invisible hand seemed to tighten. Nicki's mansion, the same one she bought for nearly $20 million just 2 years ago, was no longer just a home, it was collateral. Weidenmüller's legal team pressed forward, citing her refusal to pay even after multiple written requests. In the court's words, there was no doubt the sale of the dwelling would satisfy the entire judgment with millions to spare. Still, Nicki didn't budge. Was she saving her cash for a larger fight? Or was she, as some insiders claim, being deliberately starved by unseen forces pulling financial levers behind the curtain? Then came the leak. Screenshots allegedly showing internal Roc Nation messages surfaced online, with one line that caught everyone's attention: "We let her hang herself." The authenticity of the texts remains unverified, but their tone echoed what many already suspected, that Nicki's implosion was being watched, maybe even encouraged from the top. If true, it would suggest a coordinated strategy to isolate her financially, ensuring that her debts would spiral until she had no choice but to sell assets or retreat from public life.
Including your account, because Nicki Minaj has been on X saying that the blogs and online creators don't cover her and Jay-Z's back and forth the same way as they do everything else.
Well, it's not a back and forth.
It's definitely not a back and forth. I was about to, it's just been a forth.
Meanwhile, Kenneth Petty's ongoing legal troubles kept the headlines coming. His past, the attempted assault conviction from 1995, the later manslaughter charge, the years in prison, never fully disappeared. Each resurfacing of those records reminded audiences of the chaos surrounding Nicki's world. When footage of Petty threatening Offset re-emerged, the timing was uncanny. Sources allege it wasn't random, that individuals aligned with Jay-Z's team ensured the video gained traction. Just as Nicki's legal issues were heating up, it diverted attention perfectly from her money to his criminal past. We can't ignore how strategic this all looks when lined up. Financial pressure from one end, public humiliation from another, a partner whose legal status ties her to controversy, and the one figure towering over all of it, Beyoncé. The silent force whose influence defines modern celebrity alliances. Nicki's fans call it sabotage, her critics call it consequence. Either way, her collapse feels orchestrated, not accidental.
It's crazy, bro, because when you like got Nicki type of money and you still involved to this extent, you know, like, bro, something ain't right with you. I mean, you got too much money, too much hits, too many fans, like, to really be worried about what the is going on, like, in the current media space. Like, you could really just fall back and be the godmother of this. With all the young and up and coming female rappers who, you know what I mean, who doing their thing, but like instead, like you picking beefs with every one of them.
In private, Nicki has told fans she's being silenced, that the industry wants her quiet about something bigger than title shares or unpaid judgments. She says her enemies fear what she might reveal about the inner workings of Roc Nation, about how the same empire that claims to empower artists controls them with invisible contracts and unspoken debts. Whether that's paranoia or prophecy, no one can say, but the pattern is familiar. First they isolate, then they erase. Nicki's publicists haven't commented on the foreclosure, nor on Beyoncé's alleged involvement. Jay-Z has remained characteristically silent. Beyoncé, too, hasn't addressed any of it. Yet their silence feels strategic, not indifferent. And as Nicki's posts grow more erratic, the balance of power shifts further from her hands. We're left with a question that's as much about control as it is about truth. Nicki says she's being silenced, but the real question is, what did Beyoncé not want her to say? The answer might be hidden in Nicki's canceled album, and the $200 million she says Jay-Z still owes her. That number isn't speculation. It came directly from her own social media post, where she wrote, "We've calculated about $100 to $200 million so far. Jay-Z, call me to settle this karmic debt." It sounded half like a taunt, half like a cry for justice. But if we rewind to her October 15th meltdown, the one where she said, "They don't want me to put out music. Me winning makes them feel like they lost," the pattern becomes clear. She wasn't just angry about an album delay. She was hinting that something deeper was blocking her from releasing anything at all.
Oh, you're no longer the reigning queen of anything. That's now debatable.
But nah,
so she's acting up. She don't know how to handle it. If you a queen sitting on the top of the world, bro, for 15 years with Lil Wayne and Drake, unopposed. That's like you running your hood for a decade, 15 years, and then a group of little young get the cracking, and you like,
yeah, but you
ain't paid no
that's
homage.
the problem,
You young.
That's the problem.
You get what I'm saying?
That's a fact, but that's the problem.
Nigga gonna raise his nose up like, nah, y'all little.
According to people close to her, Roc Nation had been trying for months to lure her back with a tour and a new project, hoping to patch things up quietly. But she refused. They came begging, she wrote, framing it as a power play. Refusal was her last form of control, her only weapon against what she described as an invisible system that profited from her silence. That's when she began mentioning the $200 million again. The value she believed she was owed from her Tidal equity when Jay-Z sold the platform to Jack Dorsey's Square for $300 million. The math doesn't line up on paper, but it does in her story. The idea that a small circle of elites cashed out while she was pushed aside, bought off with an NDA and a token payment of $1 million. But Jay-Z isn't just fighting Nicki in the press, he's fighting her in court. While her posts about energy siphoning dominated social media, her legal situation quietly worsened. Creditors were circling, her home was tied up in litigation, and the Weidenmuller judgment was only the start. Then, as if on cue, her husband's past exploded back into the headlines. Kenneth Petty's 1994 assault case, nearly 3 decades old, resurfaced in 2024 with new filings, new evidence, and a civil suit from the woman who says she's lived in fear for years, Jennifer Huff. The timing raised eyebrows everywhere.
I thought that was fair commentary, but Nicki Minaj thought otherwise. Now, Lauren LaRosa, LL Cool J, read what she tweeted about the Breakfast Club.
She said, Charlemagne, did you put that bleaching cream on your penis too?
Did you?
She then tagged the President of the United States and asked him to lock us all up. Imagine if you called yourself Shrump the God.
A 30-year-old case suddenly reignited the same month Nicki's mansion was at risk? We can't call that coincidence. Insiders whisper that the renewed coverage didn't happen naturally. They claim Jay-Z's team, using its extensive PR network, pushed the old story back into rotation, ensuring that every outlet, from gossip blogs to mainstream sites, was flooded with headlines about Petty's legal history, just as Nicki's finances hit crisis level. The effect was instant. Brands pulled back, sponsors paused campaigns, publicists distanced themselves. One industry insider put it bluntly, no one wants their logo next to that story. The original case had already been controversial. 2 teenagers, a charge that led to years in prison and a lifetime of legal obligations. But what returned in 2024 wasn't just a legal reminder. It was the full narrative of harassment, intimidation, and online threats, complete with old video footage and fresh testimony. Jennifer Huff's lawyers resurfaced evidence that stoked public outrage, and suddenly Nicki herself was part of the conversation again, not as an artist, but as a possible enabler. The lawsuit claimed she and Petty tried to pressure Huff into silence, that they sent people to contact her and offered money for her to withdraw her story. Nicki denied every allegation, but once those headlines returned, she didn't stand a chance in the court of public opinion.
Things like this can be reported. Also, I don't understand it. I don't know what's going on, but things like this can be reported as smoke and mirrors as well now.
We can see how the sequence unfolded like dominoes. First the financial hit, then the personal scandal, then the collapse of her professional network. What no one could miss was the timing. Every blow seems perfectly spaced, as if someone wanted the damage to look organic. Jay-Z's silence only fueled that theory. He never responded publicly, and Beyonce's team stayed quiet too. That silence began to feel deliberate, the kind that says everything by saying nothing. Nicki's empire is crumbling. The lawsuits, the foreclosure, the missing millions, all converging into one picture of a star under siege. But here's the terrifying part. If Jay-Z could allegedly manipulate a $300 million deal, a foreclosure, and a decades-old assault case to silence her, who is next? Maybe this is just another chapter in hip-hop's ongoing power struggle. Or maybe it's a glimpse at how the industry truly works when someone refuses to play along. Either way, this story is far from over. Do we believe Nicki's being targeted, or is this karma catching up with her? Let us know what you think in the comments, because in this world of fame and betrayal, the truth always finds its way back. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and keep your eyes open.